Hi, I'm Kay and thank you for visiting my channel. I'm a former binge eater and I'm now a personal trainer and a coach, and I help people transform their relationships with food and help make healthy living something that's sustainable and maintainable for the rest of their lives. Over the last 2 weeks, I've shared with you why binge eating or emotional eating is not your fault and why it's nothing to do with your willpower, and I've also shared my own personal binge eating story. And today I'm going to share with you what I did to beat binge eating for good. I'm not saying that I never overeat, because that is something that's a little bit different, but I haven't binged for over 3 years now, and considering I used to binge 2 to 7 days out of the week, this is absolutely incredible for me. And if I can do it, then you can absolutely do it too. Okay, there are absolutely no quick fixes to this. There is nothing that you can do and change overnight. This stuff takes time, but as living proof of this, it's absolutely worth it. So I think we all know that to lose weight and keep it off, it's all about a lifestyle change. It's not just about going on all these fad diets. But the reason that most people struggle to make this lifestyle change is that you don't change your mindset. You just follow a plan that someone has given you, and that is all you do. And that is absolutely not enough. Changing your mindset is the most important thing. If you want to change your life, you have to change your mindset. So I like to compare your mindset with the foundations of a house. So imagine that there's a house and there's you. So I'm comparing the house to your body or your health. Now, the first most important thing about building a house is building the strong foundations, and that's exactly what you've got to do if you want to change your lifestyle. You've got to change your mindset, because with the house, if you haven't got strong foundations, it doesn't matter how much money you spend on the bathroom or the kitchen, or you buy really nice pictures, or whatever you do to decorate the house, eventually it's going to fall down. And it's exactly the same with you and your body and your health. You could try all the diets that there are out there, you could try all the exercise plans, but if you haven't got a strong mindset, if you haven't changed your mindset, okay, fine, you're not necessarily going to collapse, but you are just going to go back to how you were. So changing your mindset isn't easy, but it can absolutely be done. So me changing my mindset has meant that I have gone from someone who thought that life wasn't actually worth living without chocolate and cakes and donuts, to someone that now actually doesn't even want them most of the time, even when they are readily available. I've gone from someone that used to exercise all the time because it was like a punishment because I had to burn off all the food that I'd eaten, to now thinking that exercise is a privilege, and it's not something that everyone can do because they might be ill or they're disabled, and I'm going to take this time and reward my body with exercise. So the way that you think about health is going to massively affect how you act, and whether this is going to be an enjoyable life for you to live this way. And everyone is obviously unique and different, but I'm going to share with you what I did. The first thing I did was I started changing my focus from weight loss to health. The whole time that I've been binge eating, I was absolutely obsessed with my weight, and that was all I thought about, probably for the vast majority of the day. And I would get really upset about it. Every time I got on the scales and I realised that the number had gone up, I'd get really upset and it would really affect me. And it would sometimes make me binge more, which doesn't actually make any sense really. But you kind of sit there thinking, oh well, sod it, I've put on weight anyway, so I might as well just eat more. And my focus was always on weight, and because my focus was always on weight, I ended up binge eating and I didn't stop. Because the thing is, when you focus on weight, then that donut isn't really going to make a massive difference in the long term. That piece of chocolate cake isn't going to make a massive difference in the long term. It's when you keep continuously doing it that obviously it does end up making a difference. But when I started changing my mindset and started thinking about my health instead, and every time I thought about a food or I picked up a food, I actually would think about the impact that would have on my body then. Because the thing about weight gain is that it doesn't happen immediately. You don't eat a cake and suddenly put weight on, because I'm pretty sure that would stop a lot of people from eating that cake. But if I thought about the immediate reaction that my body was going to go through, which isn't something that I'd actually even feel, but just knowing the effect that that food would have on my body and just thinking about that, and I actually started imagining my little cells being like little people, and thinking, do I want to put them through loads of hard work because I'm going to make them, I'm going to eat this chocolate cake, or should I make them actually have a good time and a bit of an easier time if I eat something healthier? And just thinking about that actually did make me stop eating a lot of the junk at the beginning. It really did make me think twice. Some of the time it didn't help. This craving was so strong that I'd go and eat whatever I wanted to eat, but a lot of the other times it actually did stop me from eating the junk food and wanting me to eat something healthier instead. I also realised that my emotional needs were really, really important, and if I didn't meet them, then I'd end up craving food and I'd end up eating that food. So I started to fulfil my emotional needs by other things. So in the past, if I was on a diet, I would just stop eating that food. But that food was fulfilling something. Obviously, nutritionally, it was giving me nothing, but there was some kind of hole here in your emotions. So it might have been that you're stressed and you needed something to relieve that. You're bored, so again you needed something to do, which has left like an emotional hole. And that food would have been filling that hole. So as I said, when I've gone on diets in the past, I just wouldn't have eaten that food and I would have just done nothing else. Which meant that I pretty much just spent the whole time thinking, I want that chocolate, I want that chocolate, I want that chocolate. And, I'd either just keep thinking like that for the rest of the day, or I would end up binging because the craving got too strong. So I then started filling that hole with other things. So if I was stressed, then I'd go and speak to someone, or I'd go and have a bath, or I would do something else. If I was bored, then I would go and get a magazine or something, or play a game on my phone to distract myself. I stopped just doing nothing. I started, giving my emotions what it needed in other ways. And sometimes it didn't work, but a lot of the times it did. And, so this is why I really recommend that you write a list of things that you like doing, that you could use instead of food at times like this. And as I said, the first thing on your list might not work, so then try the second thing, try the third thing. So this is why a list is really, really important. So, you've got to fill your emotional needs, otherwise you're just going to be left with a hole that your body is going to be screaming for you to fill in some way. So I also stopped treating or rewarding myself with food. I realised that, I was always looking for treats and rewards because obviously, people want to feel good. It's just a normal reaction. But obviously if you give yourself food all the time, that is what your body is going to start to expect. So I started to treat myself in other ways. And at the time when I was going through this, I was quite lucky. I was working in a job where I could actually treat my clients to manicures and things like that quite a lot. So I would actually do that. So obviously that was a nice treat for me as well, and I didn't even have to pay for it. And to be honest, I did treat myself. I probably spent a little bit more money than I would have liked, but I just bought myself little cheap things, like bracelets or earrings or that kind of thing. And as in the past I might have gone into the shop and bought some chocolate, but if I went into the corner shop I would have bought myself a magazine or something instead, which would have been my treat for that night. So I just now don't think of food as a treat anymore. I'm not saying that I never eat this food, and I do still enjoy it when I do, but when I eat it, I've just eaten it. It's not because I wanted to treat myself. And the words that you use can really massively influence your mindset and how you think. And it seems like such a tiny thing, and I remember when I first heard about it I thought, well, what difference is that going to make, what the words that I use? But it really, really does. And at the beginning your brain might not believe it, but you tell yourself enough and your brain will believe it. Absolutely trust me on this. So instead of saying, I can't have that cake, because as soon as you say that you're going to want it, just say, I'm choosing not to have that cake. Or I'd rather be healthier than have that cake. Or something else. Just say, don't say that I can't. Or even say to yourself you can have it if you want it, but you don't really want it. Just choose your words wisely. As I said, just using the word can't is going to make you want it more. And on that note, instead of focusing on the things that you can't have, start focusing on the things that you can have. So there's got to be healthy foods that you like. It might be fruit, it might be salad, it might be some grilled chicken and some vegetables. I don't know, whatever it is, there's got to be some healthy food that you like. So instead of saying, I can't have that chocolate cake, start focusing on this amazing bowl of strawberries. I mean, look at them, they're juicy, they're sweet, and they're delicious. And use good, positive words towards your food. Because, your brain is then going to want to want to eat those foods. And because you're not even thinking about the cake, then your body won't be craving that cake either. Another thing that I did to change my mindset was I started visualizing myself at my goal weight, and I started thinking that I am there now. There's a lot of times I thought, well, you know, I'd do this when I get there, but I changed my mindset and I said, right, no, I'm already there. What does this person do? What is this person going to eat? And, you know, it did actually really make a difference in how I acted. So, you know, as I said, I was working in an office and, you know, there was always chocolates and cakes and stuff lying around all over the place. And, you know, sometimes people, especially if they're homemade stuff, can get really, really offended when you say no. But, you know, my reaction to them, you know, whenever anyone came round, you know, with any kind of sweet foods like that, my reaction would either be, oh yeah, go on then, and then I'd end up going back and back and back, or I would say something like, oh no, I'm trying to be good, please don't wave that in my face, or, you know, that kind of thing, and that would be my reaction. And then eventually I would either give in or I would just feel deprived for the rest of the day. One day, and to be honest, I didn't even think about it, it just kind of came out of my mouth. But I remember someone came round with a packet of biscuits or something and, you know, it was like, do you want one? And I said, no thanks, I don't eat that stuff anymore. And I mean, I was a little bit like, oh, okay, a little bit shocking. And to be honest, he looked at me, my colleague, and was like, oh, okay, because that wasn't my normal reaction. But because I'd said that, he then didn't push me to try and have one, which would have been a reaction from before. I just, that was it for me. I didn't want any more. I didn't actually want those biscuits, and I just carried on with my day. And, you know, I realised that saying things like that really did reinforce to my brain that, no, I didn't eat that stuff anymore. And even though I wasn't there yet, just saying these words really, really did reinforce in my head that that is who I wanted to be, and that is who I was going to become. And the last bit that I want to mention about your mindset is changing how you feel about yourself. So I spent years loathing my body, berating myself for having no willpower and just being so weak and being so stupid, and what was wrong with me? Why couldn't I just stop eating all this food? How stupid are you? And just beating myself up so much. Going from that to someone that actually does love her body now, and does love herself now. You know, it didn't happen overnight. It's absolutely not something that you're just going to wake up one day and, you know, change your mindset. You've got to actively do things. And the reason that this is so important is because you do treat yourself differently when you think of yourself in a positive way rather than when you think of yourself in a negative way. So, you know, it sounds, I think especially for us Brits, you know, loving ourselves just sounds like it's really conceited, or it's, you know, really stuck up, or, you know, you're just really vain, and it's nothing to do with that. You know, it's about loving yourself as though you are your child. It's like, you know, being friends with yourself, and how you would treat that person if it wasn't you. If it was a whole separate person, you would treat them so much better because of how you feel about them. I can't imagine that there's going to be very many of you that won't be friends with someone just because they might be overweight. But I'm pretty sure that you sit there thinking, I'm overweight and I hate myself and I'm disgusting and blah blah blah, where you would never dream of saying that to someone else. So don't say this stuff to yourself. Make friends with yourself. So, you know, I actually want you to go and, you know, tell yourself that, you know, that you're sorry. And that you want to be your body's friend. You know, I actually did do this to myself, and, you know, it really did make me upset actually, because I kind of realised how much it abused my body, you know, for years. But, you know, I wanted to make friends with my body. I wanted to be there for my body because my body had been there for me this whole time. No matter what I'd done to it, it was still there for me. It was there protecting me and it was keeping me alive. And, you know, I had to give something back. So, you know, it takes a bit of imagination, but you've got to do this to yourself. You've got to realise that you are worth it. You've got to realise that you deserve this. You deserve to get everything that you want. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be healthy. So go and, you know, I actually did sit there, you know, for weeks and months. Every day I would just sit there, close my eyes and just say to myself that I deserved to be happy and I deserved to be healthy. And just thinking like this made a massive difference to me. And the first thing that I did as well was to start appreciating myself. It wasn't that I just woke up and started loving all the different parts of me. So even the bits that I hated the most, which was always has been my stomach, I just started appreciating, you know, what it did. You You know, your stomach area, it has a function, it's there for your digestive system, and it plays a massive role in your health. And you know, I just started appreciating my stomach, even though I didn't really like how it looked, but I was appreciating it. And you know, from that became the love. So even now, I've still got fat on my stomach, I still have rolls when I sit down, and I love my stomach the way it is. I mean, could it be a little bit fatter? Yeah, maybe. Do I have visible abs? No, but it's just not important to me anymore. You know, the same goes for my legs. I've never really had an issue with, but the tops of my arms, I did really dislike at one point. But I just started, you know, appreciating my arms for being there, for being able to carry things, that I could write, I could eat, obviously. You know, there's so many things that I wouldn't be able to do if I didn't have my arms. So I just really started appreciating them, you know, for all that they did for me. My mindset wasn't the only thing that I changed, but I'm going to talk about that in my next video, because this one's getting a little bit long now. So I hope that this video has been useful and has made you think about the different things that you can do. As I said, they're not easy, it's not going to happen overnight, but it absolutely does make a massive difference. So I help people with binge eating and emotional eating issues now, or people that really struggle to get health and fitness into their busy lives. So if you want to work with me, then please give me a shout. I've put my details below in the description box. And I post on here every single week showing you how you can live a healthy life that's sustainable and maintainable for the rest of your life. So if you like me, then please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye!